We're live, and it didn't even play the intro. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Positively Awesome Wrestling Show. It is yours truly, Jimmy Bay, and I'm joined, as always, by the man to the right of me, Albert. Albert, how the heck have you been this past week, and how have you been enjoying wrestling?
I watched Braun Breaker give probably the best spear in the history of pro wrestling on Monday night. Man, I'm having a good time.
Did you see Carlito's response to it? He's hosting a funeral service.
Yes, he tweeted yes, that was amazing, absolutely amazing. One of the best tweets I think I've ever seen. Tweeting details of your own funeral.
Yeah, Carlito's awesome. Lou is ready, and he's ready to go here. We cranked, baby. We cranked. In case you can't tell by the background or I'm repping Vegas shirt right here because next week is Vegas, baby. We're talking about WrestleMania this week because there will be no show next week. I got things to do, and I am so sorry. Nope, this is the show today because I got other things to do tomorrow. And like I said, next week I will be in Vegas, and I'm not doing a podcast. Sorry. I'm enjoying Vegas, baby.
And you know what? Look, we went to WrestleMania last year. There's no time to do this. We were in Philly together, and we barely even saw each other. Yeah, there's no way.
I got like a plate of things that we're doing, and none of them involve even going to WrestleMania. So it's like I'm busy. So
I love that.
So we're gonna go ahead and knock out WrestleMania this week, and instead of us doing the normal prediction showdown, even though that's kind of what the thumbnail was suggesting, we're just gonna run down WrestleMania, the card, and talk about the things we enjoy the most, things we're not really feeling, and you know what I'm going to go down the card real quick, and then we're going to start off with a match you think they still might add since we still have 3 shows until WrestleMania. So as of right now, the card that we have is, excuse me, Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. That was made official on Monday. We have Jade Cargill versus Naomi in the first ever women's match that doesn't consist of a women's title at WrestleMania. That's awesome. Logan Paul versus AJ Styles, the 4-way for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor. The Women's Tag Team Championship match, it is Liv Morgan and Raquel taking on a team to be announced, which I'm sure we'll talk about that one since that is a match that will be made. But we can't have that be the one that we're going to try and figure out. That would be cheating. The United States Championship match, LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. LA Knight is in trouble. The WWE Women's Championship match between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. The Women's World Championship match between Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. The World Heavyweight Championship match between Gunther and Jey Uso. The undisputed WWE Championship match between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. And for some reason on this page, it has Roman Reigns, CM Punk versus Rollins as like the headliner. You're wrong there, 411 Mania. You need to fix that. So
it's the headliner for night 1.
Yeah, not the whole show.
Yes.
Harry, what is up? Thank you for joining as always. So with that said, what match are you the most excited about out of the whole card as of right now? No, wait, actually, let's skip that. I'm sorry. I said we were going to do something else. What match do you think could still possibly be added to this card?
I feel like that there's so many different matches that are missing. I think we're going to get a 5 or 6 team tag team title match for the SmackDown tag titles. I know that they're not technically the SmackDown tag titles, but I'm going to call them the SmackDown tag titles.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to get Street Profits involved with DIY, MCMG, probably Los Garza probably be in there, Pretty Deadly, and I'm missing somebody. I feel like there's a team I'm missing.
You got DIY, Pretty Deadly, LWO, and
I
Motor
said
City
Motor
Machine
City.
Guns.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's it. So I think that we're going to get something like that. I think that it only makes sense. That's what I was thinking. If they're going to add a sixth team, I think that's where Mello and Miz might sneak onto the card. Because I do feel like there's one thing I will say about this card is it doesn't feel stacked enough for 2 nights, if that makes sense. Like I feel like there needs to be more for 2 nights. And there's a couple of people that are pretty big stars that looks like they're going to miss Mania.
So I think compared to the last 3, I think is the best stretch of WrestleManias consecutively in the history of that. There's probably some bias in there because I was there and I just loved all 3 of them. But I really can't think of another stretch, a 3-year stretch. WrestleMania was consistently like awesome, better than the last 3 years. So I think comparing this card to it's impossible not to, because we've had such a good string. Comparing this card to the previous cards is like, it makes it look kind of not that good.
Yeah.
So with that, kind of, I'm willing to watch it and let it play out because of how good it has been.
No, same here. I think that I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I do think, this also, remember, Harry just reminded me, we had to remove KO versus Orton from this card too. That puts a bit of a damper on it. But yeah,
but okay, you brought that up.
Yeah, good.
I guess you brought up the Randy Orton thing, so see, Harry is of the same idea as me. I think the best way to get yourself out of this funk while letting it stay true to the story they are telling is to have Sami Zayn come out and cut a promo on SmackDown. He's back. He's feeling better. He's still not 100%, whatever. And then you have Randy Orton come out and attack him. And his reasoning being, you robbed me of the opportunity to get my hands on Kevin Owens. And for that, you must pay. You still get Orton kind of leaning towards the heel tendency because he's attacking Sami Zayn, who is a babyface. There's reason for it. Like, there's justifiable reason to be mad. Like, you got robbed of your chance to get your hands on the guy who took you out for months. And Sami Zayn and Randy Orton is not a match that's been played out at all. Like, I dare say that's a fresh match. I don't know if we've seen it on the main roster. Honestly, one-on-one, I don't know.
I know that there was the match, and I think it was a one-on-one where Sami did like that middle to the top rope jump and right into the RKO. I feel like that was a singles match. Okay. I feel like they've had.
How long ago do you think that was?
Oh, it's been a while.
So before Sami's been on his trajectory the last 4 years.
I don't know if there's been a Sami Zayn Randy Orton singles match since Sami Zayn's been involved in the bloodline. So if that's going to be the case, then that's a 4-year stretch right there.
Yeah.
So.
Chaos. I'm going to Vegas. I don't know if I'm going to any night yet. I see the tickets dropping still.
They are.
So there's still a chance I might go to night 1. If they add the Intercontinental title match to Saturday night, I'm going. Whether my seats are good or not, I don't care. I'm going to watch Punk main event, and I'm going to watch Dominic Mysterio win the Intercontinental title. Like, I'm not going to pass that opportunity up. So, as of now, no, I do have some other wrestling shows I will be attending though. So, and they have the US title match. It's already Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight. So there's no multi-man match there. But we're talking about Orton. So I say Sami Zayn. I gave my reason for it.
I like that.
What would you, if you had to guess, like, I'm making you make a decision right now, who is Randy Orton facing at WrestleMania? Or is he not wrestling at all?
So my thing is, I would really love for them to actually play up like Orton's is going to miss Mania this year and end up, night 2 main event, turning on Cody and costing him the title and joining Rock and Cena.
Yeah,
that's my ultimate thing. People are now jumping. By the way, just the same now as I feel as people have been jumping on the bandwagon about all your stuff with Dom. I feel the same way about everybody jumping on the bandwagon of this Randy Orton thing, because
I heard
I feel like I'm the first person to do it, and then man, it's been around a lot since then.
I was listening to a podcast today. It was our buddy Nick's podcast, and someone on there had that theory, and he said basically the exact same way you said it. So yeah, you did. You're the first one I saw say it. So if it happens, I'll scream it from the rooftops for you, just like I've been screaming the Dom thing. I'll have something new to scream about.
Yes, we'll both have something to brag about. Yes. But realistically, they could still do something where they have him on night one. A name that keeps popping up in my mind because it's mind-boggling to me to see where he was last year and the trajectory he was on to where he is this year, and it looks like he's getting left off the WrestleMania card, is Solo Sikoa. I think that they can do something where they can involve him with Randy, have Randy maybe beat him night one of a kind of a thing. Yeah. He's the only other person I really thought of. I didn't think about Sammy, and Sammy's a good shout. But when I thought about like who's on the roster right now that would make the most sense, Solo was the one who stuck out to me because he's one of those guys that I'm like, man, Solo doesn't have a WrestleMania match. Jimmy Uso doesn't look like he's going to be at WrestleMania either, which is crazy.
I think Solo plays into the Cody main event because we got to remember when Solo left for a little bit and came back, the first thing he did was attack Cody. And then it went nowhere. And they don't maybe I'm glazing WWE and Triple H right now, but since he's took over, they don't tend to just do things and they disappear. There's always reasons for things. So I do think Solo plays in it. I think he's going to be an enforcer for The Rock and Cena. I've said that since we started talking about the whole pairing. So I think he plays into it still. But Solo and Randy's not bad. Like, it continues Solo's big matches. And I'm a firm believer in Solo. I think he's going to be a big deal for them for a very long time.
Me too. I think Jacob Fatu's come in and has just been a bulldozer.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like, what are you going to do? The guy's so super over. You can't put Solo in that spot because you know that people are going to reject it. You got to go with the hot hand. So I appreciate it, but it really sucks that it seems like it's come at the.
And here you go. That spot you're talking about was in the Rumble. So
okay,
after someone to look up to see if the match has happened.
I feel like that there was like that stretch where they were both on Raw where they probably did, but I don't know.
Hey, it was me. It'd get Phoenix on the card, which I'm not against. Get him on the card any way you can at this point. And this is a very big possibility, but let me tell you something. If Jacob Fatu loses at WrestleMania, I'm going to lose my mind.
That is,
we cannot do that.
Let me tell you something. That is going to be the like such like a good thing and a nightmare for WWE because LA Knight is like one of these guys who I feel like is like one of the most over guys on this upward trajectory where even when he's not at the peak and where people seem to feel like he's like fallen off, his pops are still there. Yeah. People are very excited to see him. But man, Jacob Fatu, it may be one of the most over guys on the roster right now. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the crowd reacts to the two of them.
I pointed it out a few weeks ago when they were in the ring together, they were chanting for Jacob.
They were.
That's not because they hate LA Knight. I think
they were still
really gravitated towards Jacob, which
they were still doing all the yes.
It's still hampered, and it's what hampered Solo. So that sucks for Solo, but some people are just undeniable.
Right.
And Jacob Fatu is one of those guys. So,
I agree.
So who'd you say for Randy? Who would you think? Like you said, Solo. That's why we're.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Solo. That's going to be my guess.
That's not a bad one. So I know we're everywhere tonight, everybody. So I apologize, but that's just what it is. It's WrestleMania. We got to fit everything in. So
yep.
We think the Randy match is going to get added, and we both have different people there, so that's good.
And I still do think we're going to get a SmackDown tag title match. I don't even like. I feel like maybe we also get New Day versus the War Raiders as well. Maybe no DQ.
See, I think the tag team titles are going to be, relegated to SmackDown and Raw, like as main events for the
main events. I can see that too.
They do hype up the Raw and SmackDowns during the pay-per-view weekends. So they have the New Day story right there, and you could make it a no DQ, and that ends the Raw, or at least is your big match that you promote. And then SmackDown, you could just have that as the main event. They've done it before with the SmackDown multi-teams. It was an awesome match. You could easily just do it again, give the people on SmackDown a great match to go home to. That one tag team match though that is on the Mania card is the women's tag title, which thankfully that's the right call because Liv Morgan deserves it almost as well as anybody else that's on that card. She has been an MVP.
She does.
She has been an MVP for them. So, with that said, on SmackDown this week, we're having the gauntlet match between Lyra Valkyrie and Bayley taking on Zoe and Shayna, B-Fab and Michin, Alba Fire. I'm sorry, I don't honestly remember the new name they gave her. That's her new name?
No, she's still Alba Fire.
Okay, Alba Fire and Piper Niven, and then the new team of Natty and I can't think of her name for the life of me right now. Maxine
Dupree.
Yeah, Maxine Dupree. So of those 5 teams, who do we think is making it to Mania?
Wait, isn't Casey and Caden in the match too?
I do not see. Oh, they are. I had it blocked on the page. Blocked it, so I didn't.
I was going to say I thought I saw them on the graphic.
Yeah.
So my thing is this: there's a part of me that thinks it can't be Piper and Alba because there's no way they're getting on WrestleMania and Chelsea's not, right? So that's my theory there. I would like it to be Casey and Caden because I would like to see the tag titles being defended against a real tag team from this division. That would be nice to give them the nod there to go to WrestleMania because they've been an actual tag team for this whole time. I have a feeling, though, it's going to be Bayley and Lyra.
Okay. So I'm going to disagree with you wholeheartedly here. And I'm
Great. I love that.
Because I think I think Bayley and Lyra are going to have dysfunction. We saw a little bit of it on Monday.
I thought about this too.
Cost them. And I think we're going to end up possibly maybe on the Raw, maybe on WrestleMania, because I do think there's still room for matches at Mania.
Yes, there are.
I think there's still possible we get Bayley versus Lyra at WrestleMania in the rubber match. Because Bayley won the first time, Lyra snuck one away from her, and Bayley was not happy about it. So I can't see why they tease that if they're going to have them win a tag team gauntlet and be cohesive. Like I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff because it makes the rest of the tag teams look bad. So I am going to go with Casey and Caden because of the teams, they deserve it the most.
Thank you. I really, that's what I want.
Yeah. What I will say is I think it'll be Piper and Alba.
Okay.
If Chelsea's not going to have a match, she's got to be on the card, and that's how you'd get her on the card. And I hate that there's a chance that we get a WrestleMania. I hate it. Trust me, I hate it if that's what she's being like diminished to here, because both
relegated
secondary titles should be on the show. Like, why are we creating them if we're not going to make room for them? Like, I'm not a fan of it, but that's what it looks like. We might
I don't know if they've been defended on a pay-per-view at all.
And if somehow this all turns into like a multi-person ladder match for the Women's United States Championship, awesome. That's perfect for Chelsea Green. Absolutely perfect for her. But I've seen no clue as to that is where they're going with it. So I'm going to go Piper and Alba because they are a hot act with Chelsea, and Chelsea's not on the show. So that's how you get her out there. But man, I want Casey and Caden to win. Casey and Caden there. Yeah. I want them to win this. So
there's a part of me. There's this part of me that wants there to be, that idea that Chelsea and Alba and Piper all have gold. I think that would be great. I just don't know if that's the time right now, and that's the reason why I don't even want to put them into like that category yet, because I feel like that's going to be a thing one day. I just don't think that Raquel and Liv are anywhere near done with those tag titles yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything's just so murky with,
which I love.
Yeah, I do to an extent. I really wish they would have given Liv something better, though. Even if it is a tag time, make it mean something. Because again, I know you're not a fan of her. She deserves it. She has been awesome.
And the tag titles deserve it too. To be honest, like the tag titles were, I don't think they were defended last year at WrestleMania either. They were in the 6 women tag match, right? Because it was
I think
Bianca, Jade, and Naomi.
They were defended, I think, because they had the multi-woman tag match. So I remember Chelsea flew off the. Was that last year or was that the year before?
That was Money in the Bank.
No.
The tag match was the year before. That was the 4-way tag team match. Last year it was Chelsea. It was Naomi, Bianca, and Jade versus Damage Control.
There was. Oh, you're right. I just remember because I was there and I remember just watching Chelsea jump off the top rope to the outside and take out everybody. But now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, that was the year before. So
yeah, they haven't been defended since WrestleMania 38, and that's the thing. It's time. Like they've been around longer. I'm with you. Look, it's the same thing as I said about the women's singles titles. They haven't been defended on a PLE yet, and I don't like that. They're making these titles. And look, if the idea is that they're going to keep these titles as almost being like, hey, we're not defending them on the PLEs because you've got to earn your way up there, and this is just a preliminary title kind of a thing, fine. But then I also feel like that's counterproductive. And if that's the case, why aren't the tag titles being defended?
They were defended at 39. And guess who the champions were? Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And they beat Bianca and Naomi.
I don't remember that at all.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't remember it either because I thought Bianca was undefeated at WrestleMania. But this says
so did I.
She lost. So, and then there was the right here. That was the 6-way. But the women's tag team champions Liv and Raquel went in and defended them and retained them against Bianca and Naomi. That's interesting. I don't remember that.
I don't remember that being the case. Oh my God. Why don't I like, how do I not just even like,
because Liv wasn't on her trajectory yet. She was just kind of like, whatever.
He said that Becky and Lita that's what I thought. Becky and Lita were the women's tag champs at WrestleMania 39.
Let me just do a double check on this. Let's see. WrestleMania.
That sounds weird. Like, let's say, how do I not
I don't remember it. I'll be honest. I do not remember it. I just looked it up on that page and that's what they told me. So I'll check another page here real quick. Where's the preliminary match?
Very, very weird that
this is so long. This is
now that there's 2 nights, it's ridiculous.
Night 2. Yeah, because this is telling me a completely different match at WrestleMania 39.
Okay, I thought so. Okay, good.
Okay. Yeah, so that page was wrong. I already X'd out, or I'd tell you guys to never go to that site ever again.
Bianca defended the Raw Women's Championship against Asuka. Right. Yeah, that makes way more sense. I was like, how do I? Because the other thing is that I was like, wait, this was 2 WrestleManias in a row now that Bianca's not in a world title match. It seemed to be strange. I seem to remember it was like she was in a world title match in like every show, like since she was on the main roster.
This is why you check your sources, people.
Yeah, there you go. I was gonna say that really sounded weird that was a thing.
Okay, so we both want Casey and Caden.
Yeah.
And do we think there's any chance that Liv and Raquel lose them?
I don't think there's a chance yet. I think that they have a lot to do with those titles right now. I think that Jade, Bianca, and Naomi did a great job in that's true.
That makes it, dude. That site was horrible. I'm about to look in the history and put them on blast, man.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. But yeah, I think they did a great job rebuilding those tag titles, and I think that Liv and Raquel are the right team to keep them at that prestige because Liv had such a good year, so it makes them seem more prestigious. That the last couple of champions are consisting of 2 women who are synonymous with being world champions. Ugh. God, I can't believe I had to use that sentence and use Liv Morgan in it, but here we are.
Just go with it, man. She's awesome. Yeah, I can't find it. I think that was stupid. I can't.
Good, it should be purged from the internet.
God. Double check, people. Double check. All right, so let's move on to another match here. Is there anyone you want to talk about? Let's just do that. What do you want?
Look, let's talk about the one that we, I think we've kind of just, kind of got off to a slow start. Let's talk about one that we both really have a lot invested in. Let's talk about the 4-way Intercontinental Championship match.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
I already said what was it, 2 weeks ago? I'm not happy that they're doing it, but it's been official, so I might as well just get on board with it and accept it for what it is. It's already led to Penta cheating against Dominic Mysterio on Raw, so that's not fun. And Dom pulled out a destroyer that makes everyone else's look silly, because half the time they get like 3/4 of the way over, and I feel like he spiked Penta. And I know that's a lot of Penta helping him, but still, his looked good.
It did,
and it wasn't like set up or anything. He did it on a rebound and everything. Like, get on the train, everybody, because Dominic, that was beautiful.
There's going to be a point now where Dom is going to look. I think we both have the same expectation here. I think we both expect for Dominic Mysterio to walk out of WrestleMania as the Intercontinental Champion. And if we're going to make this match, I don't see how you don't do that. Because you can tell a great story with Penta and Braun afterwards, where they don't need a championship to have a big feud against each other. And obviously then the story is Finn and Dom and how they coexist within Judgment Day. Because we saw, like Liv Morgan said, hey, if one of us wins, we all win, right? And you saw Finn's reaction, not too happy about that. So I think that's going to be a very interesting post-WrestleMania.
So, Lou, you missed the Randy Orton talk. We were talking about Randy for a good 5 to 6 minutes. So you'll have to go back and watch what we were talking about with Randy.
Easily, Harry.
Easily. Come on now. Let's get out of that. That ain't what happened. Dom was owning him. So what Liv said kind of makes me think that Finn and Dom ain't winning. Because if one of us wins, then we all win, right? Well, if one of y'all lose, then y'all both lose. And I think that's all the ammunition Finn is going to need to snap on Dom, because he's been just waiting to do it. And if somehow Dom does not walk out of WrestleMania without the Intercontinental title, oh man, that's a sad day for me. I think it's going to come down to either he gets pinned, which is a sad day for me, or he's going to be directly involved in Finn not winning. And then that'll carry over to Monday Night Raw, and that'll be a big angle that they have for the Raw after Mania. And if that's the case, I see Penta winning here. And I think they're just going to go all in on him. I'm officially changing my pick at this point. There's still one more Monday Night Raw to go. And this is a good thing.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all.
It's a good thing that if I'm watching things and I'm still clueless as to who's truly going to win, if I take the fanboy out of it and I look at what they're giving me, I truly don't know who's going to win at this point, and I love that.
If you break this down, there's a really good argument to be made for all 4 guys getting a win here. And that's what I think is a really strong point of this match. You can keep Braun on his trajectory. You can really establish Penta as a new star. You could put the championship on Dom, who didn't need a title for such a long time, but now can be trusted. He can be trusted to hold and carry something like that and make all those segments count. Or you could reinvigorate Finn's career by giving him an Intercontinental Championship run and putting him into a major story again with Judgment Day.
Braun is a great losing the Intercontinental title would make him a great logical next opponent for Jey Uso and the world title.
Oh yeah,
that's how the IC title used to work.
Yes, absolutely. I'm 100%.
He has a reason. I beat you,
right?
So. Have Braun lose. I think you run back Jay and Gunther. I don't know if you run back Jay and Gunther Backlash. They've already had so much.
It's been 3 matches. I think if Jay wins, I think
Gunther end the show
goes away. I think Gunther goes away. I think he just goes away for a little while.
On a vacation for sure.
And then comes back on SmackDown.
Yeah. But I feel like Jay could have something at the end of the show, and it closes with Braun Breaker spearing him in half and standing over him.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's your next feud. I think that's a logic. If Braun Breaker is losing the title, I think that's our next logical move there. And just to go rewind a little bit, he says, you better have been talking about the Viper. Had KO not been gotten hurt, he was going to get his head punked off his shoulders. So I think Sammy is now going to be getting his head punted off his shoulders. So I think you still get your punt.
I hope so. I'm with it too. I think that Sammy's a good shout to be a replacement. It makes a lot of logical sense.
It keeps in line with the story. And
yeah,
I like to make it make sense, baby. And this is very true. I don't think Dom and Finn needs a title, but I think it's more fuel for Finn to be upset if Dom does have the title. If Finn wins, I don't see why Dom would be upset about it, because he's been cool. He's been cool the whole time, really. Like, he's gotten
it's Liv that's getting times. It's Liv getting in his ear.
Yeah,
to make him.
Even when she's getting in his ear, he's kind of like, yeah, but.
But it's Finn. He's my brother. Like, come on. Yeah.
Finn's the one that's kind of like getting upset about things. So I think Dom would need to win the title. So at this point,
agree.
I'm 50-50 between Penta and Dom. Maybe
I'm with you too. Yeah.
I'm leaning towards Penta, but
so I'm leaning more towards Dom, but I'm in the same position. I think it's either Dom or Penta.
Okay.
Which sucks because Finn's my favorite wrestler, but what are we gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, they need to do something with Finn at this point. I'm getting kind of tired of waiting. He's
it's the same.
Good. He's
too good. And people are like, oh, he's whatever age he is. Man, Damian Priest is just getting his start. He's getting his big push now, and they're about the same age. There's nothing like age is but a number. Finn doesn't look like he's coming anywhere near slowing down, and he's still in better shape than 95% of the guys on the roster.
I think he has 4 good years left in him.
I think, I'm 100%.
I think he could keep going, but I think as far as good years, I think he has about 4.
Here's the thing. I think that AJ Styles is going to be 50 soon, and he's still doing what he's doing. Yeah. I think Finn can also.
That's kind of what I was saying, too, when we had the show a few weeks ago, where we were literally just talking about Judgment Day. I think that's what you could do. And that's the match I wanted at WrestleMania. I wanted to be Finn and Dom with Judgment Day on the line.
Yeah.
So, I'm right there with you. I think that would have been the better thing to do here. But now the Intercontinental title, there's nothing I can change about the Intercontinental title being involved. So now I'm readjusting where I would like to see things go. And Harry, it's Penta or Dom. I know you was leaning way towards Penta at first. Now you're switching it up. You see the Dom. You starting to fall in love. I get it.
You see in the vision.
Since you picked the last one, I'll pick the next one. We're going to talk about Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight, WWE United States Championship match, because this is my lock for the weekend. Write it down right now. Jacob Fatu is going to destroy LA Knight and become your new United States champion, baby. I'm so excited for this because he's finally going to just put a whooping on a top person. And this is his coming out party. Get ready, everybody. You got something to you gonna disagree with me on that one, Albert?
I think that we're gonna get a good match between the two of them. I think Solo and Tama are gonna try to interfere. It's gonna backfire. LA Knight's gonna be Jacob, and then we're gonna see. I don't think we're gonna get the crash out that night. I think everybody's expecting, oh man, Solo's gonna cost him the match, and then they're gonna turn on each other. But I do think that. Yeah, look, I think that there's a big story to be told with Jacob Fatu right now, and it doesn't need the U.S. Championship to tell it. I think that it adds. The thing is that I think that if he does win the championship, it does add to the tension building between him and Solo, because now Solo can be like, "Hey, I'm happy. I brought it here," and all Jacob has to do is just be like, "Yeah, I did what you couldn't do," and not even be mean about it.
Yeah.
You could just be like, hey, look, you couldn't do this, but I did. Look, we got it now. And then, bam, now Solo's like.
I was just about to bring this up because we talked about how Finn and Dom don't really need a title for theirs to work. With Solo and Jacob, it makes a world of sense because Solo's whole thing was, I'm the tribal chief. I got the Ula Fala. Now I'm going to get a title, and I'm going to be running things like Roman did. He failed across the board. And for Jacob to come in and do something he wasn't able to do, okay, well, Jacob already told you to get in line. Now you kind of have to. And Solo ain't cool with that. And that would, again, my theory was Jacob Fatu's the 2 in Rock's 3. And this, again, would fall perfectly in line with that because then Jacob gets spiked by Solo and he becomes a target. That's where I'm going. But I think Jacob wins the title. You can't have someone this over that has that much promise come in and lose his. I'm just not with it. He can't lose at Mania. He can't. This is his first big match.
I thought this.
Has he been pinned yet? He hasn't been pinned.
I don't know. I don't think so.
So he's beat Jey Uso. So like we can't have him lose the LA Knight. And again, same with how I said Braun Breaker loses the IC title and then goes up to the next thing. If John Cena is winning the world title, LA Knight is a great opponent for John Cena in the WWE Undisputed Championship. Let's see what LA Knight has against Big Daddy John on the mic.
I'm with it. I think that, and they have that history where Cena raised his hand and everything. Yeah.
Hey, I don't hate LA Knight at all. I just love Jacob Fatu. He's almost at Dom level of how much I just love this dude. He has it.
He's got everything.
He's so fun. So, and
the one thing I always, that was a big criticism of Umaga was that he couldn't talk. That's why they had Armando Estrada with him.
Jacob can.
So Jacob can talk and he can wrestle and oh man. He's everything. He really is. He really is. He's a star. He's going to get that, and I know it's a very San Francisco centric slang thing. You know what I mean? The way he says it though, where there's like no syllables in between there, which I still can't do. He's going to get that so over.
Yeah.
Just give it like a month. That's everybody's going to be saying it. It's going to be so over.
Let's do this real quick. No, Jacob has to have one of those long Gunther like things, runs with the title. I'm not with him just dropping it immediately, especially the Solo. Solo needs to just lose because he has to fall in line behind Jacob. He has to. That's the progression they've been telling with the story.
Or split them, or they're going to split completely, and then and which is going to be even more fun to see that they're going to fracture, and that'll be a lot more fun for everybody around them to be involved into that.
I was doing this too. Jacob's always been a monster to be reckoned with. I just love that it's finally on the biggest stage, and it's working.
Yeah,
it's not like he came up and he's like this awesome person that didn't click with the crowd, and it never works. It's like no, Jacob works. And he is so over, and he's so awesome. And I was ready to put the WWE Undisputed title on him at WrestleMania. So he better not be leaving without that United States title. I ain't having it. And I'm a call bourgeois on this one, Lewis. There's no way in heck LA Knight is murdering John Cena on the mic. I think it would be fun. But ain't nobody murdered John Cena on that mic yet. So I'm not saying LA Knight's going to do it. He fumbles a lot. So we got that one out the way. It's your turn. What match you want to bring up here?
We talked about it before. I think we can kind of get into this briefly because I feel the build has been good, but I feel it's been overshadowed. But Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest is one of the ones that I'm kind of really looking forward to.
It hasn't been announced yet, has it?
I think so. I think it's official.
I don't think it has. It's not on this card, and this is updated like 16 hours ago. I can't remember them even having a graphic for it.
I could have sworn they announced it last week. On SmackDown.
Quick. WWE.com. Let's go to their website.
I could have sworn that they had confirmed it on SmackDown, but I could be wrong.
I put 31 in. I was like, what the heck? None of these matches make any sense. These people ain't even in the dang thing anymore. Let's see.
Well, John Cena would probably still be in the main event, so
let's see. It is not on their page.
Well, I think we know that's where we're going.
It's definitely happening for sure. For sure. I'm just saying. I thought it was kind of weird. It hasn't been announced. So.
I do like the build, though. I think it's been fun.
Yeah.
I think that there's been. I think that it's a natural progression for both of these guys. I think they have the interaction last year. I think that, there is a really good story that Drew did lay out for us that, Priest has kind of almost picked his scraps in a lot of different ways, and and only beat him in different ways because of outside interference and stuff like that. Harry, I will say this: I think that if any match deserves a stipulation at the show, because we really don't have one, hardcore or anything like no DQ, something like that, street fight, this is the one to do it with.
I think the way they've been attacking each other and how he got the glass in his eye and they've been attacking each other backstage and they can't be contained. I think street fight's the logical way to go with these guys. And I'll say this, man, we praised Drew McIntyre so much last year, and I'm not saying this is any kind of I'm not trying to overshadow Damian Priest here, but we talked about how great Drew was last year, and then they announced this match, and we all were just kind of like. I don't know about you, but I know the majority of people were like, really?
A lot of people are, yeah.
And I'm one of them because I didn't think it was a Drew McIntyre. I think he deserved more. And I still do, but what him and Damian have done with this feud, hats off, applause, everything, because it's probably been the best week-to-week build of the matches that they have on the card.
Yeah.
It's been great. And I had Drew here, and now I'm seeing what he can do with Damian Priest. He's elevating Damian Priest.
Right.
And when you can elevate people, that puts you on a completely different tier of superstars. And Drew is finally there. He's been fantastic. Damian's played his part to perfection. I'm very excited to see this match. And I didn't think I'd be saying that.
I'm the guy who predicted that Drew McIntyre was going to win Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to main event WrestleMania. Like, that's where I thought his trajectory.
Remember, I did, because I had him being with The Rock, and I thought he was having a big moment, and they kind of did it, and now it's like.
But also, by that same point, he won the world title at WrestleMania last year. And I feel like that there are certain times where people are like, oh, man, they don't get what they deserve. Man, like, everybody can't be in the main event every year. Like, they just can't be. Like, I find it to be, and I don't know if this is where you want to go next, because it does bleed into it. But I find there to be a lot of people who are complaining about Bianca Belair right now being in this match. And it was like, man, last year everybody was complaining that she wasn't in a singles match at WrestleMania for a championship.
Yeah.
And it's like, now she is in that match where, by the way, I'm the biggest Rhea Ripley fan in the world. Bianca's earned her way into that match more than everybody else, and people are booing her. And I'm like, what plot have we lost here? Like,
I don't think they're booing Bianca necessarily because she's in the match. I think they're booing her because she has been showing tendencies of turning heel. I honestly
don't think so. I think that
the internet crowd.
So
the internet crowd is doing it, and
this is the Cody Rhodes. This is the Cody Rhodes and AEW situation that I talked about not too long ago. Cody Rhodes was never. There were a lot of people who kept saying, Cody's got look what he's doing. He's dressing like Homelander. He's cutting these promos. He's turning heel. And Cody was like, I've never had any desire to turn heel at all.
Here's the thing. Cody actually came out and said that he was playing a heel that thought he was the babyface. Because I felt so vindicated when he said that, because I wrote this long article where I was talking about it. And then he came out, I think it was last year at some point, and said, the idea was that I was a heel, but in my mind, I was the babyface, and I was confused as to why people weren't accepting me. So he was playing the Homelander character. But they were booing Cody because they just didn't want him. And you know what?
But that was another thing, too.
They didn't deserve him.
The start of that, a lot of it was like, well, he's going to turn, so we're just going to boo him because we know he's going to turn. And I feel like that's where a lot of people are headed with Bianca, too. Like, oh, she's doing this, she's doing that. She's a part of this whole thing with Naomi. And it's like, you could think that, but you're prematurely booing somebody. And, like, this is the classic guilty before, deeming them guilty before they were proven innocent, And I completely disagree.
I'll say this. If Bianca wins the title and then she turns into some like mega heel where she's getting like massive heat, and then the Street Profits split up during this, if you're going to present Montez as a top singles guy, I think pairing him with a Bianca that is getting that kind of heat would be, I mean, you're not pairing them. They are a pair. So like just having them on screen together, just flaunting like how awesome they are and how much better they are than everybody and how much wonderful their life is. But like, I think this could work. I don't want it to be forced. it has to fall, like the dominoes have to fall in line for it. But I think it would be good if you're going to push Montez as a top guy by himself.
Just logically, though, really putting the time back to think about this, there are way too many. They're heel heavy at the top right now.
They are
in the women's division, and I think that turning Bianca too really makes them way too heel heavy on that side.
But if Becky's coming back, that's a face right there.
Sure, but it's also, and I don't mean to be this guy, but it's something we've seen before. You know,
it is. But I'm saying like Becky could just go to SmackDown, and then you take a face from over there and put him on Raw. And then there's after Mania, there's women on that NXT roster they could bring up that are ready.
My thing is this.
So
I think that we're in the process of understanding. WWE is also in the process of understanding.
This is what I see too.
Tiffany Stratton is better as a heel. I think that there's no doubt about it. They've got to turn her. I think we're already seeing the seeds being planted of Bayley doing that too. How many people are we turning? You know, sure, Asuka could come back. Look, Asuka could come back as a face because Damage Control technically are faces right now. She can come back as a face too. Sure.
I'll also say this: I'm against Bianca turning heel. I don't think she ever.
I don't think it's heel either. I think that it doesn't make sense.
It's one of those things where the wheel's already in motion, so I can argue against it all day, or I could just be like, okay, let's see what you got and see how we can make this work. I'm against it. I think she should have been babyface the entire time. I know a lot of people want to see her as a heel because they heels are cooler and all that, but she is one of those legitimate baby faces where people just love her. Like you can't buy that. Like you can't.
The problem with turning Bianca heel is the second they turn her heel, she's going to get cheered. It's the Rhea Ripley thing. It was the exact same thing. I think so. I think that she's going to be cool from the second she's going to turn. Everybody's going to boo. She's going to cut her first couple of promos, and within a month, everybody's going to be cheering her again. It's the same thing as they did when they turned Rhea heel.
It depends on how they work it. Because I think they do a good job with babyface and heels now. I think there's a lot of heels who get hated on because they're supposed to be getting hated on. Again, it just depends on how they work it.
They do and they don't. I mean, look, Drew turned, and there were a lot of people still cheering for him throughout in the arena. I don't know if Drew's a bad guy though. I think Drew's more of that Stone Cold one. He just leans more towards the bad guy because of his actions. But with the things he's complaining about, he's justified 100%. Sure.
He doesn't lean into being a heel. He just kind of the fans take what he's doing as a heel a little bit, but they're like, no, this guy's awesome. He's justified. I don't consider Drew a heel. That's me.
Well, but that's the thing. I think if they're going to turn Bianca, that's what they're probably going to inevitably do too. How do you not because it makes sense. Like, hey, I've been so great to you. I stepped away. I wasn't even in the main events, and now I rebuilt this tag division. I elevated my two of my best friends to get them to even higher, and then I come back. I get here, and then you disrespect me. Like, you guys suck. And I feel like that's the way to present Bianca as a heel, because if not,
if she is lined up against Rhea, she's the heel. There's no escaping that. Rhea's that over. So I think it's a matter of who they pair her against is what will determine how the reactions are going to go for her as a heel.
That's fair.
Io's over. So, I mean, if you have Bianca and Io after Mania going into the Backlash, that's going to work. Bianca's going to get booed there. And then I would assume Rhea would probably be SummerSlam. Man, it missed the boat.
It's got to be. It had. Look. I guess we're going to talk about this now because we're in the process of it. I said this earlier on today on the site that you're ready to leave. People are arguing about this match, and everybody's talking. And I'm like, I still don't understand why Bianca's being booed. And people are like, well, I think that people think that she doesn't belong there. But I'm like, nah. Io doesn't belong there. Like, I love Io Sky, don't get me wrong. I want her to be on WrestleMania. I want her to have a big spot. But again, lest we forget, Io defended the title at WrestleMania last year too. You can't be on top every year. I'm glad they added her to this match for reasons, to get her on the card and to make her a big deal. But she doesn't belong in this match. It's Rhea versus Bianca is a main event level, and maybe they didn't do it because they knew they had Punk and they knew they had Cody Cena, and they were like, well, we can't make them the main event this year, so maybe we'll wait till next year. But I don't know why she's in this match. It just doesn't logically make sense. She's the one who doesn't belong. If you're going to boo anybody, they should be booing Io.
I was the one screaming this.
I love Io. I love Io. Don't get me wrong. I love her. But
if we're being real here, if Io doesn't belong there, I'm not saying you're saying she doesn't belong there because she was in a title match last year. You just use it as kind of ammunition to prove your point.
Yes.
Rhea Ripley has been in 6 title matches in a row at WrestleMania.
I agree. And I think that this would have been a look. I know that this could be controversial because I know that it was last year it was her and Becky, right?
Rhea and Becky was last year.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I know this will be controversial, and I know a lot of people might not like this, but this was at a point where if we knew where we were going with everything, they could have stretched her and Liv all the way out to Mania to give them another non-title singles match. You know what I mean? That would have been a draw. That could have been a singles match that didn't need a title.
Could have done a intergender match some way, somehow.
Sure.
She could have got her hands on Dawn at Mania. Sure.
Yes. Absolutely. Sure. Have her. They could have paired Finn with her in that situation and had it against Liv and Dom. Sure.
Here's my thing. I think they've done a good job of working Rhea into it. Like I said, I've enjoyed the build. I didn't enjoy it at first because I was so butthurt about the fact that it wasn't one-on-one. But I kind of just accepted the ride that we're on because there's nothing I could do to change it. And I saw what they were giving me, and I actually like the build. I think it wasn't like brilliant, but I think it made sense. Like Rhea did the contract. It was like, that's not going to work. You got to earn your way in. So she earned her way in, but then Bianca was there to screw her, but Bianca didn't really screw her because Rhea did something. And then I thought it was well done.
Yeah.
So I won't poop on it. I just really wish it was Rhea and Bianca, but let's move on to something else so that we can close on a different match that we haven't talked about. This is an interesting question from our buddy Dale. Hey guys, first time, long time. What match this year will lead directly to a storyline for next year's WrestleMania? This is probably the layup answer, but Roman, Punk, and Rollins. I think that one's leading to a match next year. I think there's big money in a Punk Roman singles match.
Yes.
But no, because Paul Heyman's involved, so I don't know now. I don't think Paul's going to be with either of them.
Look, there's a lot to talk about and break down from that match. There are a lot of people that are saying, well, Paul's going to screw over Roman. And then there are people saying Paul's going to screw over Punk. And then there's a big consensus that are saying he's going to screw over both of them inside but Rollins.
Yeah.
So I like that. Look, I guess we're talking about this now because, hey, look, it came up organically, so we may as well move.
Maybe. But I want to think of a match that's going to lead to next year's first.
Sure.
So, let me say, hey, I'll just stick with what we were talking about. I think the Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley one. Because I'm holding out hope that we're going to get Bianca and Ripley one-on-one next year. So that's my answer. That's short. That's just what it is.
I'm with you. Actually, I agree.
Okay. So, we'll talk about this match real quick. We're going to probably go over a little bit tonight because it is WrestleMania, and I'm fine with it. Just take the time out of this week and add it to the time next week that you'll have because there's no show.
Right.
So, yes, I was saying this. He needs to have that United States title for a very, very long time. Gunther level of run. And let's see. Is Heyman joining Rollins? So this is what we're going to go into with this triple threat match because that is the big storyline coming out of Monday Night Raw.
So I know you're usually the one who asks me questions. Can I ask you one?
Absolutely. I love questions.
How did you feel about the reveal of the favor? Did you feel it lived up to the hype?
I knew what the favor. Oh, I don't want to say I knew what the favor was because I'm not in the writing room, but that was the favor I was expecting.
Okay.
So I'm not mad at it. Like, I feel like being mad about it because it is a logical thing. It makes sense that would be a favor that he asks. So to be mad about it would be, I'd be one of those dumb fans that I'm now trying to get away from, and I'm not that guy. So I do think it's good. I can't think of anything better, honestly.
Same.
Because I hated the one where it's like he's going to get Paul to give him the main event for the title. It's like, no, that would have been stupid. That would have been a stretch. This is
and also, but also there's so many logical flaws to that because
exactly, it's dumb.
Paul isn't doing that for Punk. Paul's doing that for Roman. Paul's the one who negotiates that contract. Yes, Punk is in that same match, so Punk, by virtue of being, and that's exactly what they said too. Now thank me, because it's because of me you're in this. And in kayfabe, it makes total sense. Paul's going to go to Nick Aldis and go to the board of directors and say, Roman Reigns is the biggest wrestler in WWE. He needs to be in the main event of WrestleMania, and this has to be main event. It has to be put into the contract. Then Paul can go to Punk and say, hey, it's in the contract. And then Roman says, hey, you need to thank me, because without me, this wouldn't happen, because Paul was the one who negotiated this. No. So it never made sense for that to be the favor.
No.
Everybody can sit there and say, well, Paul has pull. Sure, Paul has pull, but Paul's also working for Roman. So the only reason why Paul has pull is because he works for Roman Reigns.
I'll say this. I think that is lazy. Damn, Darby Allin just did a coffin drop off my top up here. Randomly. What's going on up there?
Let's just hope that that's not what happens on Everest. But
yeah, that's about the same fall, bro. Up there. So, yeah, it would be lazy booking, which people hate, if Paul was just like, all right, I got you in the title match. Like, what? Roman's not champion. How would that make sense? It doesn't make sense. So,
and that's the other thing. I think that it's fun that they put that in as a wrinkle, because I like that Roman was like, okay, favor done. He didn't even need to do anything because he already did it for me, kind of a thing. Like Roman's like, ha, that's the favor. And then when that revelation made it even better. That wasn't the favor. Then it's like, oh crap. Well, now what is? And I think they did a great job in paying it off. I think they did a great job in having Seth be there for it and almost be like in the background of it and just being like us and just being a fan of it and like laughing about it. I do like, and a lot of people are talking about like Seth on Monday, and they're like, hey, Seth, that's not how favors work, which I think is funny, but I think that's what Rollins is doing, you know what I mean, to Heyman, like, hey, I didn't kick your face in, now you owe me one. Like, that's not how you earn a favor. You're just being a nice guy by not kicking him in the face, you know what I mean? Like, I like that.
But he did say, I could take you out right now, and there's no one to stop me. And then Punk came out to stop him. He stopped Punk. And then Paul was defenseless, and there was no one there to stop him. So when Seth did spare him, he did give him a favor. He's like, nah, because he's playing a mind game.
That's fair.
This is the version of Seth I like.
Same here. I like
really
this.
Loved the whole thing when it started and all that, but it's played out at this point, and that was the best Seth Rollins I've seen in a very long time. So now I'll ask you a question. Do you think this is happening?
No. I don't, and I don't think that there is a reason for it to. I think people like the idea because it's outside the box, and it in a way makes a lot of sense. But it's, what logical choice would Paul have to join Seth Rollins? He could either ride on the coattails of his best friend, who he's known and he's built into the industry, or he can ride on the coattails of the guy who's brought him the most success of all time. By joining Rollins, Rollins isn't in any different of a position that Punk and Roman are in right now either. None of them are champions. None of them are at the you know what I mean? Like, and if anything, the respect in the top of the card, pecking order wise, in kayfabe seems to go Rollins being underneath both Punk and Roman. So I understand why Rollins would want Heyman to join him. I don't see the benefit for Heyman of joining Seth Rollins.
So this is why I love this segment so much. Seth laid it out perfectly. Hey, you love Roman, but Roman don't love you because he left you at the pack of wolves and you paid the price.
Right.
Punk, he left you and had you pay the price. They're not your friends, they use you. And I don't think he sold himself to Paul. I think he sold the idea of you're better off without them. And so I'll say this. I don't think Heyman joins Rollins. But I think Heyman helps Rollins win. And since I do the fantasy booking thing as part of the show,
please, yes,
I think Punk is going to have the match won. No, Roman will have the match won. Paul will prevent it, pull the ref out or something, and then Roman will be like, "What the pissed. Okay. So then it leads to kerfuffle, whatever. Then it gets down to Punk, hits the GTS. 1, 2, Paul screws him. And then Punk is like, what the F? Those two are now completely lost because they can't believe what just happened. And this is how Rollins wins. Because I've said since they announced the match, I think Rollins wins. Everyone thinks Rollins is there to take the pin. No, he's eat the pin. I think he's there to win because Rollins never had this main event big match. Like he was the stepbrother last year.
He made evented night one.
But he was there as he was the stepchild. He was not.
He was.
Yes.
Look,
this is all about Seth. And
he feels that way. And again, he feels that way this year.
Yes. So,
and I think that's the build. And for me, that's why I believe that this is Seth Rollins' match to win because
yes, he's winning. He's winning.
Yeah,
and I think Heyman helps him, but I don't think Heyman joins him. I think Heyman might disappear for a while after this, and then when he returns, he'll have his new client.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's what I think. Hey, I can't see it happening at this point. I really can't. Heyman going with The Rock. He did have the two phones. One for the Roman, one for The Rock.
And that could look there's a lot of disconnect from where The Rock was last year to where he is now. And that does inevitably put a nice little bow on that story if that's the case. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, can you imagine?
This main event is going to be amazing for the simple fact, like a lot is going to happen after this match.
But just think about
a lot of roads.
Just think about the idea of WrestleMania ending and the four people standing victorious in the center of the ring are The Rock, Paul Heyman, John Cena, and Randy Orton. That would, come on.
With Randy Orton.
No, there's no way I'm leaving Randy Orton out of this. And even if you want to add Solo into that as like the enforcer too.
Yeah, Solo's there.
Like, come on. Like the storytelling you get out of that.
I know you want the Randy Orton one to happen, and I'm with it. I think it is a good one, and the way you made it go to where there's a full circle and it ends with Cena and Orton, it's beautiful. Makes sense. I'm not mad at that happening. I think there's a chance that Seth's part of this.
Sure, why not? I mean, hey.
I think because, Seth tried to be in a movie, and it didn't work out for him. Who can now offer that to him? The Rock. You bring real life into the storyline. And the Heyman thing is there. Like, I think that's a possibility too. I love this match, and I was so against it. And they've reeled me in. Good job.
To be fair, there were two matches that we both said that we were almost like initially dead set against, but if they pulled it off the right way, we would be okay with it. This is one of them, and the other one was somebody's got to turn heel if they're going to do Cena versus Cody. I don't know if we would. We were both very surprised that that they did it in the way that they did it, but yeah, I think that they sold us on those two matches that we weren't. And actually, let's make it three because we weren't really crazy about this women's triple threat either, and they sold us a little bit more on that too. I think they've done a very good job.
Yeah, they have
selling us on all these matches.
You heard people were disappointed with Punk's favor. I said, yeah, that's all it is. They always build these things up. Like the people who are saying Nick Aldis is going to face Randy Orton. Would that be cool? Yes. Don't get your hopes up. Like, I'm sorry. That's a reach. I know the story's there, but is Nick Aldis like ring ready to go out in front of the biggest crowd of his life and put on a show with Randy Orton? Like a very hot, like that's a big match.
And only have 2 weeks to prep for it. Let's not remember that the guy's not wrestling every week either.
I'm sorry. That I just think you're setting yourself up for major disappointment, much like people did with that favor. I think Seth is. Yeah, that's been my that's been my assumption since the thing started. Like this is Seth to win. This is for Seth. Right. This is his big moment. And Roman would love nothing more than to put over his baby brother. Like
Punk,
that's what Roman does.
Right. Punk being in the match is like the big enough for him, right? Yeah. Him being in that main event is just he doesn't need to win. He's fulfilled what he's wanted to do. There's no need for Punk to have to win this match. No. There's no need for Roman to have to win this match because we know that Roman's going to go away after WrestleMania for a little while. What's the purpose? Yeah. Seth is going to be there full time. He's going to carry this character. He's going to carry the company like he did a couple of years ago. like prior to WrestleMania when he was the world champion. He's going to do it again, and there's no reason to not put this on Seth, because in every situation, Seth, even when he was world champion, Seth took a back seat to Cody and The Rock and all that. And like you said, he was world champion little brother last year, right? He comes back. Cody comes back. Who's the guy that he beats? Seth. Roman has that, a big match. They need somebody to have a big match in the Royal Rumble. Who does he pull out? Seth. But does Seth win? No. CM Punk comes back. Does Seth beat Punk? No. This is the point where Seth gets those wins back.
Yeah. He did. I know he had the big cash-in moment at WrestleMania, and that's cool. But again, as far as his matches go, he's had some really good matches, and he's had some really big moments. But does he have a really big win that was a match? Beating Roman and Brock was big, but he wasn't part of that match. He just entered into it. What match has he had that's that he won that people are going to remember? They remember the moment.
Right. I think a lot of people already forgot that he beat Brock for the world title at WrestleMania. There was an opening match. It was a one-on-one. But that's what I'm saying. See? Well, wait. Oh, yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? So I think he needs that. He needs a definitive match.
Yeah, because that one was overshadowed by Becky's big win and moment. It's unfortunate. I think Seth, he's more than earned it.
100%.
So yeah. I will do one more match, and then we can say our goodbyes here because we haven't talked about it, and I want to. I'll give you 5 points if you guess what match it is.
I mean, we're not going to talk about Cody and Cena, I guess. So
I feel like it's been talked about enough, honestly, and they haven't really given us any new ammunition since.
Look, I'll put it to you this way: I think that both of our endings for that match, where we want it to go, I think would be amazing.
We both think Cena's winning.
I think we both believe Cena's winning. I think we both believe that there's going to be some sort of a group built around Cena after this. And I think that either way, if it's Solo, great. If it's Seth, great. If it's Orton, I mean, I'm going to hit the roof. But yeah.
It is not AJ and Logan, even though I am not against this match. I don't want AJ to lose. I'll say that.
Same.
But I think if AJ wins, it's a good sign for him staying in WWE. If AJ loses, I think you can start to kind of do the AEW rumors. That's how I feel about this.
He said he's retiring at 50 and he's already signed his last contract. I think he's with WWE until he turns 50.
His contract's up this year. I think it's up not that long after Mania. And I
thought he just resigned.
On Chris Van Vliet's show, he was talking about how I think the contract is coming up. I'm not.
Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong then.
I don't have a source on this. I'm just kind of going off of the stupid rumblings I hear.
Neither do I. Yeah, I don't know when people's contracts are up. So yeah.
So if his contract is up and he loses to Logan, I think the AEW rumors can start. I honestly believe that, but we'll see. But that's not the match. The match that I am referring to is that deadbeat dad, Rey Mysterio Jr., Rey Mysterio, whatever we're going to call him, having to get his butt whipped by the oldest luchador of all time, El Grande Americano, who is in no relation to El Americano Nightmare. Chad Gable. Let's be real. That's Chad Gable getting his first one-on-one match at WrestleMania. This is long overdue.
First of all, that's not Chad Gable. That is El Grande Americano. And second of all, I am upset that Chad Gable does not get another match at WrestleMania this year.
So here's what I really hope this becomes a mask versus mask match.
So I want to just point something out. I will never, until they reveal it on TV, I will, for here on, continue to keep kayfabe alive as much as I have with Sami Zayn and El Generico, with El Grande Americano and Chad Gable, because I think it's stuff like that to me is fun.
I think they should have left Rey Fenix off and had him be El Grande Americano.
That would have been amazing.
I think that would have been so much cooler, and Chad Gable could have showed up to help, and they're like, wait, it's not Chad. I think that would have been fun. But they're like, wait a second, that guy doesn't even look like the same guy. There was a lot of things they could have done with it if they didn't make it Chad Gable, especially when he's coming out doing all the luchador moves. And you're like, whoa, Chad can't do that. What's going on here? It's Shorty G.
That's right. That's right. I agree.
It could be Otis.
Lou, you bring up a great point.
If Otis was still with Chad Gable, this would have been an amazing thing to do.
I'm ready for that thing.
I really hope that this becomes a mask versus mask match.
Me too.
And that's how, and he loses because Chad. I honestly don't think he cares about the losing like everyone else cares for him, me included. I think he's just happy to be able to go out on a weekly basis and be part of the show. And the one thing he's been missing is a WrestleMania, not only match, but moment and everything. And I think this is good for it. Like, he has a great match with one of the greatest of all time. And this is not kayfabe I'm talking about. If you want kayfabe, he's going to go out there and beat that deadbeat like he deserves. Realistically, it's Rey Mysterio Jr. Who doesn't want a one-on-one match with Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania?
Yeah, come on. Like, that's
and
the
to
ultimate,
have
right?
Rey unmask him after this angle that's got everybody talking is a cool thing. And I am excited for it. I'm excited to see Chad Gable versus Rey Mysterio. I think it's going to be a possible show stealer.
My hope for this match is that they do unmask El Grande Americano, and it's not Chad Gable.
It's
like they do some amazing. It would be great. But they do some sort of a thing where, like, he rolls out or he switches. You bring up Kurt Angle, and the reason it's funny that you say that. Remember what they did with his brother. There was that point he was in the corner. They did the switch real quick, and the camera wasn't on them. They come back. Undertaker wins the world title, and it's not Kurt Angle. It's his brother. Like, I would love for them to do something silly like that so Gable can then come out the other side of the ring and just be like, look, I told you it's not me.
Yeah, he crawls under the ring, and then they pull him out, and it's a different person, and they unmask him.
Yes.
It's not Megan. And then they can continue it, and it's great.
Right,
it goes
exactly.
It'll be fantastic. I love it.
It's so much fun.
I hate how much crap people like, but then again, it's the same individuals. I can't be surprised.
I know this. I know this is the Positively Awesome Wrestling Podcast, but this is the one thing that I have to say about wrestling fans that gets me mad. There's just no way to be a bad guy anymore in wrestling unless you just say, I'm a bad guy.
Unless you work for the company that you really enjoy, because then you could just do whatever. You could be an edgelord, and it's great,
and it's okay.
Yeah, but if you push any boundaries in the other show, it's like, hey, that's a no. That's get out.
If you don't
Gulf of America.
Look, if you don't understand why this doesn't make total sense, look. Okay, let's
Fuego del Sol.
There you go. Let's take off the Albert keeping kayfabe thing alive. Okay, this is Chad Gable under the mask, right? He's going to come in. He's going to make his own character up. Now, logically in kayfabe for his character, how much sense would it make for him to because one of the big complaints is they use that sloppy AI crap. Chad Gable El Grande Americano doesn't exist in real life. There's nothing else you could put him on to make him look real. So they have to use AI. This is the most practical use of AI that there ever is. And if Chad Gable, the human being, was doing this, he would use AI. Why wouldn't he? It makes the most sense. What they made him from the Gulf of America. He's a heel. He wants to get heat. How do you get heat? You take something controversial, like the Gulf of America, and you make that where you're from. He's called El Grande Americano. It's a coffee order. It's not even real Spanish. Yes, because Chad Gable isn't Spanish. He doesn't speak the language.
His Starbucks order.
Thank you. Exactly what I was going to say. He's like, oh, that's Spanish. It makes so much sense when you think about it that way. It makes him such a better heel. It's so much more fun. What it boils down to is people have stopped being able to have the ability to have fun, to disassociate a character with a human being. You're supposed to not like all of this, but it's not supposed to offend you to the point where you're like, I hate this character. It's supposed to be like, I can't wait for this idiot to get his butt kicked by Rey Mysterio. That's the point. He's from the Gulf of America. They're going to have the biggest star from Mexico in the history of professional wrestling beat him up at WrestleMania. That's his comeuppance. That's what they want. Like, how do you not understand that?
It's the blinds on. The blinders are on, man. It's
white knights all around, man. And I'm not that kind of a person. But come on.
Do you get it now? I'm fucking leaving, man. It's
ridiculous. It is.
Everybody complaining about, like, get over yourselves.
This is the most fun gimmick that's come out in such a long time, and they've ruined it. It's so much fun.
It's not the best build because it just kind of did happen, but it's been the most fun. It's one of the most fun storylines right now.
It's so much fun. Like, I love it. I love that. I love the Gable going, well, I want to compete in my hometown. And Pierce is like, no, you can't. Like El Grande Americano has to. And the knowledge of saying of Pierce, and that's what makes it funny. Pierce knows who's under the mask. We all do. And that's what makes it even more funny. I love stuff like this. This campy stuff in wrestling to me, man, give me all of this. That's so much fun. That's why R-Truth works. He's so campy. It's so much fun.
I'll compare this to a big thing that's happening in pop culture right now. Minecraft is the number one movie in the world right now, and everyone's like, it's such a stupid bad movie, and it's like, hey, you know what? It's not a good movie, but you know what it is? A very fun movie, because sometimes people don't want to always be seeing
Citizen
the
Kane.
Same crap. I don't need a cinematic masterpiece every time I go to the movie theater.
Right.
Sometimes I want a fun experience. And that's what Minecraft is, and that's why it's been successful. So as good as Chad Gable is in the ring, he's working with what he's been giving, and he doesn't need to give you all these great promos and cinematic masterpieces. It's cinema. We hear that so much in wrestling now, and it's kind of overplayed. But he's not giving you cinema. He's giving you fun.
Right.
And I appreciate it. It's what he's been doing since the Alpha Academy. He's just been fun. And it's why I love him so much. So
there's a reason. There's a reason why the Outrunners stand out so much in AEW, because they're so much fun. Yes, and Harley Cameron, because she's so much fun. When you integrate that kind of stuff into this hardcore, world where these guys hate each other and want to rip each other's faces off, it's why R-Truth works so well. It's why comedy characters in wrestling are always successful. Santino Marella had one of the longest WWE careers out of anybody. Why? Because you can put him on TV with anybody, and you can make it fun and make it funny and make it a good segment. And Chad Gable has proven that he can do that.
Absolutely, Harry. And that's kind of what I was saying with, sometimes you just want to go watch some brain dead fun stuff. If you don't, okay, I guess I don't know how fun your life is, but I just can't imagine just not enjoying things that are meant to be stupid but fun. Don't take life so seriously. Don't take entertainment so seriously. It's there to entertain you. And sometimes you just have to just be like, okay, well, this is not every movie needs to be The Godfather, and not every storyline needs to be The Bloodline.
Look, I'll put it to you this way. There's a contingency of wrestling fans who believe that every match has to be contested as trying to be the greatest match of all time. Yeah. If every match is a 5-star match, then no match is a 5-star match. Simple as that.
What you're doing is you're oversaturating the market, and it makes it impossible for other people to stand out, which is why, again, I'm going to go ahead and say I don't really care at this point. But in AEW, that's what they do. They try to just have 5-star matches all the time. And what happens is it's now become a thing where it's it makes it really hard to stand out from the others, unless you're some god level being like Will Ospreay. And it has allowed acts like Harley Cameron to slide in and be just be popular and over as heck. And the Outrunners to slide in and get over and be really popular, because it's they stand out from the 5-star match people, because that's all you see from all the other people.
Why do you think Daniel Garcia got over? Daniel Garcia got over for the dance. It wasn't we all knew he was a great wrestler, and everybody hates Jericho, but Jericho got Daniel Garcia to that next level because he made him a character, and they gave him the dance, and it got people behind him more than him just being a Wheeler Yuta 2.0.
Yeah, and Danhausen isn't on TV anymore, yet somehow he continues to be one of their top merch sellers, because he's a very awesome and fun character. It's stupid. His gimmick is so stupid, but we love it. I've seen people who loved Danhausen before he got to AEW, loved when he got to AEW, and then because of a certain somebody leaving the company, now they hate the guy. Nothing's changed about Danhausen. He's still the same awesome character. They dislike him because of that. But
the only change is their perception of who he is. Right.
He's still making money, so clearly he's still very popular and very over.
Right.
It's
a tale as old as right. It's a tale as old as time. Look, we were both alive for the Monday Night Wars. When people would show up in the other companies, we'd all be like, whoa, oh my God, this is great. Nobody got mad at them. Nobody was
traitor.
I can't believe you would turn your back on when Scott Hall and Kevin Nash showed up on Nitro. We were all like, "What? This
That's
is
what got me to start
crazy.
watching WCW. I didn't hate Scott Hall anymore. I was like, okay, this is a new show. What's this about? And it ended up being one
Right.
of my favorite things of all time.
And that's
Um,
my thing. Like, we can't get mad. Like, let's just say Ricky Starks. People are still like, oh, the moment he walked into WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes, we know that was the end of his AEW career. Dude,
that's silly.
the guy asked to not be extended 6 months before that WrestleMania ever took place. Like logically, that doesn't even make sense. Like, you're just inventing a narrative because you want to hate somebody because they don't play for your team anymore. And it's like, as a sport, look, I'm a big sports fan. When people would leave, like the Yankees or the Jets, I was always like, man, I hope that guy goes someplace else and kills it because I don't hate you. I don't hate you. Unless, look, it depends on the player. If the player was, if the player was disruptive and he was a jerk, sure. Like, okay, Jamal Adams. I was very glad when Jamal Adams left the Jets because he was becoming disruptive and he wasn't producing on the field as well as we wanted him to. Other people, like when Braylon Edwards left the Jets or Brandon Marshall left the Jets, I'm like, man, Sam Darnold just left the Jets. I'm like, man, go kill it. You know, like, I want you to kill it. And that's what I think, that we've lost the idea of being fans of wrestlers and people are now fans of companies.
Yeah, that's silly.
It really is.
End it on this. Where is this coming at? I want to talk about. I want to heel Cena and R-Truth segment. Look,
yes,
man, as I said,
please.
I think I wanted Cena's first appearance to be R-Truth coming out and like, what's up? What's going on, man? And then Cena just beats him to a pulp. Didn't get it. But Cena wins the title, have him come out. R-Truth comes out and confronts him. Yo,
to celebrate with him.
Yeah, it's perfect because that's R-Truth's character. That's the kind of stupid stuff he does, and it's funny. And then Cena beats him to a pulp, and we care about it because we like stupidity,
right? Because we feel bad for R-Truth.
While we're on the topic of R-Truth, he brings up Danhausen. Maybe go to NXT one day. My dream is to one day get a tag team of Danhausen and R-Truth. It's you're printing money, and there's no way those segments aren't putting you in tears. It's a match made in heaven. And I
know he's so far removed from where he was at that point, but how we never got Dustin Rhodes and Danhausen on the same, like in something at one point either, is mind-boggling to me. Like, that's just prints money. Just, you know how funny Dustin can be in situations like that, and with Danhausen would bring it right out of him.
Yeah. I love Garcia and Prince Nana. That Prince Nana, bro. That dance is so. I love it so much. And Orange Cassidy. I rock with all of them. I'm not that big of a Garcia fan, but I know he's great. I'm not. I think he's an overhyped individual. People think he's here, and I think he's here. And that's not a knock on him. There's just some people have ceilings, and I think his is here. He's great. Like, I'm not gonna crap talk him. I just think he has a ceiling, and it's not the ceiling that everyone says he has. But yeah, I'm gonna end it there, or else we'll just keep elaborating. Go ahead, one last thing, and then we rocking and rolling out of here.
Who wins, Charlotte or Tiffany? I'm just curious to see where your head is.
Man, I was trying to avoid this one.
I just want to know what you think. I think, is that the only match we didn't talk about at all?
Yeah, we didn't. I just didn't want to.
I just want to know where your head's at and where you think, because everybody seems to think that it's a lock that Charlotte's going to walk out as champion. I have this sneaking suspicion that Tiffany's going to beat her.
I think Charlotte wins. I just think Charlotte wins. It's what they did with Rhea. Charlotte won the first one, and then she has to come back and get it. And that could be a match. Sorry. That could be a match that comes back next year and they just rematch it. I know a lot of people would be happy about that. But yeah, I just think Charlotte wins, and it's just one of those reasons why I can't stand her.
I love Charlotte the wrestler. Charlotte the character has really been very hard to get behind.
I don't even know if I like Charlotte the wrestler. Like, I've always given her props, but I'm kind of I'm over it. And that's the worst thing for me as a fan, is to be over someone. Like, I'm just like over it. Like, if she never wrestled again, it wouldn't bother me. I don't want her not to wrestle again. I want her to wrestle as long as she wants to. Have at it. I'm not here to dictate how your career goes. But it's just one of those things where if she just wrapped it up tomorrow and said, I just don't want to do it anymore, and I never saw her again, I wouldn't think twice about her. It'd be like, okay, bye. Because I'm just over her. I hate that. I don't like that feeling, but
I also don't know if it's also just her. I think her booking is really a big part of that. Like every time she comes back, she's a world champion. Like she comes back, she wins the Rumble. She came back last year, she was in the world title picture.
I think it goes back to what I was saying before, and you saw on SmackDown, she refuses to be vulnerable on TV.
Yeah, it really.
Like as soon as Tiffy started getting over on her, she started doing that like, Tiffy, I'm squeak. What are you doing? That sounded. It was bad. Like that was bad. I don't think the segment was as bad as people said it was, but that part right there, I was kind of like, that's the Charlotte I believe to know. Like that's the one. That's why I don't like her, is because she does stuff like that, and I think it's dumb. She did it with Becky. She did Becky in the title thing. Like I can't stand it.
She has this weird, like the thing is that we know she's at the top of the food chain. You don't have to consistently remind her.
I don't think she should be either. That's the thing. I just don't think she should be. I think Becky has proven to be a bigger deal than Charlotte. I think Becky never had to step on people's toes to do it or make people look bad. Becky makes everyone look good. Charlotte kind of makes everyone look bad. The only person I feel like Charlotte has ever done good by is Rhea. I'm not going to take that away from her. I think she did good by Rhea. But everything else has just been, I don't know. I'm not with it. And that's why I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to go there and everything.
No, it's fine. But this is the point that I'll make about Charlotte. When everybody talks about somebody, all you need to be is a great wrestler, I think that's where people can look at somebody like Charlotte. Because when the lights are on bright, man, that girl puts on great matches. You go through her WrestleMania catalog, it's almost all hits, no misses. It's crazy. She's got a deep bag. She's great in the ring. There's just a point, though, where being great in the ring doesn't get you everywhere. And there was a point where Charlotte knew her character really well, and she played it really well. And that was like 5 years ago. And we haven't seen a comfortable Charlotte, I think, in years.
I think Charlotte I would probably prefer her elsewhere at this point, because I think she would fit in elsewhere at this point. And I'm not just saying AEW. I think if she was to go to New Japan, or Stardom, I think she would fit in with them because she's just as athletic as those girls are. And I think if she was to lay stuff in like they do, I think she'd fit right in. But it's why I kind of have soured on AEW, is because a lot of people are just really good in the ring, and they don't have the characters to keep me interested, and that's what Charlotte is. I'm like right here. I hate it. I'm over it, and I'm with you on that one, Tulu. I'm not gonna say it, but I'm with you. I have not liked them since he came back.
I think that they need to rehab him a little bit. We're talking about MJF for people who are listening on Spotify. I think that they've rehabbed him a little bit, but there definitely needs to be. He's definitely nowhere near where he was prior to this. And
he hasn't evolved, and it's my thing with Charlotte. She hasn't evolved, and it's like you're still doing the daddy thing that you've been doing since day one. I'm over.
And the big tease when Charlotte was coming back was that we're going to see a new Charlotte. Now, I don't know I don't know if the idea was they really thought that she was going to come back and be a babyface, and that was the direction they were going to go, and that's where she was going to be new. Either way, this isn't a new version. It's just Charlotte being Charlotte again.
And that's why I gave her I gave her the chance. Like, I wanted her to win the Rumble or the Chamber. I wanted her in this position. It's not like I'm a hater. I wanted her in this position.
No, this is the money match.
They were promising me something different, and it is a big money match. I think she could get a great match out of Tiffany.
Yes.
But it's not new. It's the same thing, and I'm just tired. Stop wooing. Like, you don't want to be compared to your father, but you're doing everything that he did, so...
Right.
What? Like, look, that's silly.
You know, to bring up another match we haven't talked about, Jade and Naomi. I mean, I think that there's money matches in Charlotte still being there to have a match against somebody like Jade that we, because that's something we haven't seen before. I think
not ruining her stock.
That's right.
I think
that's
Charlotte
the thing.
Is getting dangerously close to. She has to do something to change.
But my thing is this: I think that the build for Naomi and Jade has been excellent, and I think the match is going to just end up being what it is, because I don't know if you can do a blood feud match like that and have it be like a classic.
Yeah.
The build for Tiffany and Charlotte has been abysmal, but I think they're probably going to have one of the best matches of the weekend.
Just
And
like
that's
it was like we talked about this, Sasha and Bianca. Like it was an abysmal build. The match was great.
right.
Rhea and Charlotte. Build was abysmal. Match was great. That seems to be a reoccurring theme with the women's Rumble winner.
Yeah.
It's like they don't know how to build it, but the girls deliver. The girls wrestling, I love it. They need to do better with the booking. But
I agree.
We're now at the 1:30 mark, so we will now say our goodbyes. So
they got half a show for next week. So there you go.
There you go. So if you wanted to stop at the hour mark and then you get I don't care what you do. As long as you're watching or listening, I appreciate it. Thank you all for doing so.
Jey Uso beats Gunther. Just throwing that out there.
That's definitely happening.
Which I don't like, by the way, because Gunther keeps losing too many very big matches. And I know he's only lost like 4 matches, but all of them have been humongous.
I think only 2 have been big.
That ultimate world title match against Cody.
I don't think that's a big match. I think it's a Saudi show, and it's like just kind of like it happened.
It just, to me, it was just like that. That was the time to elevate him to that next level, to make him on that same level as Cody. And I feel like he didn't get there. I feel like him losing now diminishes him too. It does tell a good story for him to be on the come up to get back to maybe if Cody's still champion by the time he gets there. I think that's a good story, but it does bother me that this is the second WrestleMania in a row. It looks like Gunther's going to lose.
That's what heels do at Mania, though. They just lose.
Sure.
So,
but you brought up that you don't think Jacob Fatu should lose at WrestleMania.
He's not a heel at this point.
He is. LA Knight's LA Knight's the babyface in this match, and we know it.
I don't think Jacob. I think just because LA Knight's the babyface, Jacob Fatu isn't the heel. I think he's turning. He's on that.
He's definitely There's going to be something going on with him and Solo, and there's no way Solo's the babyface after that. That's
where I'm at. But yeah, thank you all for the support. Thank you all. We will not be here next week as I will be in Vegas, and it is WrestleMania weekend, so go enjoy that. But also, again, thank you all for the support. If you haven't done so yet,
maybe I'll pop on my channel and do something next week.
There you go. For him over the Slam sessions.
Sure, maybe I'll do it.
But your support is great. If you haven't done so, follow and rate and listen and watch and share and all that good stuff. And
we appreciate each of you.
In 2 weeks' time to talk about what happened at WrestleMania instead of talking about what's going to happen at WrestleMania.
The post-WrestleMania show.
So, yes, that's it. And toodles.